Welcome back to Hoochos. Today on Hoochos, I'm going to show you how to grow this. This is a mountain of ginger and turmeric. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to grow it hydroponically in a passive wicking, auto refilling, rain gutter grow system style hydroponic system. Okay, so to begin with, I just want to start by defining some terms for those who are new to the channel. Today we'll be utilizing a rain gutter grow system design. Now, the rain gutter grow system is a method of passively, without electricity, watering container plants in a soil system which was developed by Larry Hall. This system utilizes gutters that fill with water from a float valve at the end, with containers placed over the top and a net cup protruding from the bottom of the containers, with the soil media being amended with cocoa or peat moss so that it wick up and made the water readily available to the plants. Now, this design was actually adapted by Dr. B.A. Kratky, whose name you will most definitely recognize as the inventor of the Kratky technique. He adapted Larry Hall's rain gutter grow system to hydroponics, where rather than being filled with water, the channels were filled with hydroponic nutrient, which were then made available to the plants in soilless media rather than Larry Hall's soiled method. Now, I've covered rain gutter grow systems quite a lot on this channel. There is a rain gutter grow system playlist if you are interested. I've shown you how to make rain gutter grow systems without 3D prints, as well as making available 3D prints, which reduces the cost of rain gutter grow system components so that you can make them on a budget if you own a 3D printer. I'll be utilizing both the non-3D printed and the 3D printed technique within this video. This design we'll be using today is the Wick Wedge hydroponic system, which I've also covered in another video. It's a means of delivering nutrients to bagged media within a rain gutter grow system environment. These are 3D printable, however, I will be showing you a way of doing it without a 3D print. And since beginning this journey, which started a year and a half ago, I have actually redesigned the Wick Wedge 2 times. There is a redesign which incorporates 2 smaller spikes for rockwool slabs, as well as the grow spike, which is a more compact, less filament hungry version of the Wick Wedge, which I would probably recommend utilizing instead of this Wick Wedge system. The technique is exactly the same and the results won't vary much at all. So let's travel back a year and a half in time to the start of my hydroponic ginger and turmeric journey. So one of the reasons why I want to set up this grow bag system is because I've had such success with these rain gutter grow systems. This is turmeric, and as you can see, there's heaps of turmeric behind me, and this ginger, well, it's all going out of control and it's starting to actually push out the buckets that they're in. So I'm going to get a huge crop out of this, and I think that the bag systems, because the bags aren't so rigid, they'll allow the rhizomes to expand within the bag, and it may break the bag, but it will allow as much growth as possible in that grow media. So I think this will be the perfect system for plants like these. Okay. This is the ginger that I've been propagating under the NFT. On the bottom you can see roots coming out, and this used to be a level on a worm farm. I've just been drain to waste watering, and with the turmeric I tried something a little bit different. These are just propagation trays, so doubled up trays. The bottom tray holds the water and the top tray has the drain, and you can see that they've definitely outgrown these trays. All of this was done in a 60-40 cocoa perlite grow media mix. So I'll take these over to the area that we're going to set up. Okay, so I'm just going to interject here for 1 second. If I were to do this again, I wouldn't have propagated the ginger in other containers first. You can just source your ginger, if you source it from a supermarket, soak it in water beforehand to get rid of any growth inhibitors. And once it's been soaked for a few hours, just take your rhizome of ginger or turmeric, split it into pieces, and then plant them out into your bags. If you're a viewer, you know how these systems work. For those who aren't and are new to the channel, float valve up the end tops up nutrient from a reservoir, hydroponic nutrient, 2.4 EC, 5.5 to 6.5 pH. It fills into these channels. Then we have some kind of wicking apparatus, whether it's a net cup or wick wedge or some other form of wicking material that supplies the nutrients up and into a grow media. And that's the general idea behind all rain gutter grow systems. Even without the nutrients, you're wicking water. So I've got these level because they have to be level. We've got drain points on each end. This one's one you can make without a 3D printer. This one's one you can make with a 3D printer. The end caps are printable. The float valves are available cheaply online. There are links in all of my videos. Okay, so it's going to be on the same feeder line as this float box. I'm just siphoning it out at the moment because we had a ton of rain last night, and as you can see, it's way over full. I'm just going to cut this, put a T-piece in here, then we can connect this piece of hose up, which leads over to the other two systems. We can go and connect up our two rain gutter grow systems. Just make sure the ends are secure. And now I can turn it on, and you can hear that. You are a mess, look at you. Okay, you can see that's filling up there. There it is, and you can tell there's a ton of dirt in those hoses. I'm not happy with that dirt. Actually gonna let it drain. We'll let those fill up and we'll see if we've got a level. Okay, so I've got here wicked up 7 of the 8 wick wedges that I'll be using. You can see it's like 6mm cotton sash. This is actually purpose made wicking material, and it's just looped through the holes in the wick wedge up and then back down the other side. That will just sit straight down in our holes like so. But instead of having it this way, we're actually going to turn them this way because I'm going to have one bag per wick wedge. That's going to give us a ton more grow area per rain gutter grow system. And they fit perfectly in these holes. I've designed them for that. At the bottom of each of these wick wedges, I've designed, there's a lip. So as the bag presses down over it, it stops any water from wicking up and then escaping down the sides of the wick wedge. All of these bits of the sash sit down in the nutrient solution and wick up. When the bag's pressed over it, it wicks out to the bag. We're going to use bagged cocoa, hydroponic grade, so it's been amended with calcium and magnesium. All I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on like so. So with my other systems, I had 2 spikes per bag, but this system I'm going to try 1 spike per bag because each side of the spike should supply each side of the bagged cocoa. And now I'm going to place all of these bags over the spikes until we've got a full row. Now that we've got all of the ones that we can have out at this point in time, it's actually good that I've got that one left free because I want to make sure that that level doesn't rise anymore. I think it's finished topping up, but you can never be sure. I'm going to grab our plants, our turmeric and our ginger, and we're going to plant it in. So the way that I'm going to have it laid out is I'm going to have the ginger at the front and the turmeric at the back because the turmeric tends to take up a lot more space. So as the morning sun comes in, at least if it shines through the ginger, it'll hit the turmeric. And also it's good for filming so that I can have a nice lush green back with, you know, a sparse ginger foreground. That is half of my turmeric and half of my ginger that I've prepared, and the other half will go in the back system. Now we can plant. I might grab a wheelbarrow for this. Look at that. Now we can just break off our ginger. Look at that. That is what I was aiming for. Now we should be able to see the direction which it's going to split. It's actually splitting that way because that is new growth there and that is new growth there. So I'll be planting this section towards this end of the bag so that it splits across that way. If I make an incision in the bag like that, and then with the end that I think is going to split, I just open it up and stick it in. And we'll have a cut that goes halfway there, and then I'll split it at the end so that it doesn't continue, and then I'll split this one from here to here and have a cut like that. So that's another nice piece of ginger. You can see which way it's splitting. So it is going that way. So I'll just be planting it so that it makes its way into the middle. That's the old seed ginger there. That is 2 rhizomes of ginger that are going to meet in the middle. 2, 1, 2, with one joining, with one joining. And there's 2 new shoots coming out of that one. Pop it in that hole. And that is our first bag planted. Now we can start on the turmeric, and I'll fill this up with the ginger later. So I'm going to do the same process with the turmeric. 6 lines, maybe you can do more. We've got our old seed stock. It's not going to go in any particular direction, I don't think. Like that. As you can see there, we've got some nice fresh growth. Trying to do as little damage as possible. And do the same for the rest. I'm actually going to go and top water these with hydroponic nutrient so that they have something to feed on. I won't give them too much of a shock since they've just been transplanted, but they have been running on about half strength nutrient anyway, up to this point. Okay, so I am actually getting better at plant timing. What you just saw was planted in March, which is our autumn. Ginger and turmeric should ideally be planted in spring. So what happened was the ginger and turmeric actually died back, and then in November it started to reshoot, which is when the time lapse that you're about to see actually started, because there was actually no point in me time lapsing dormancy. So sit back and enjoy the time lapse. Okay, so it's coming into winter now, and we should start to see the ginger and turmeric die back. In fact, it's already happening. It is really lush right now, but it was even more lush, probably reaching its climax about a month ago. It is starting to show signs that the plant is losing its vigor and it's going to recede back into its rhizomes. We want the plant to die back so that we can harvest the rhizome underneath. It's really exciting because this is a ton of foliage and I think we're going to get a bumper crop. Okay, so that last scene was at the end of April and it is now the end of June. So it's been 2 months. Our turmeric has almost completely died back and I'm going to give the ginger a bit of a helping hand. I've done a few updates on this and you can see the progress as I walk around the ginger and turmeric and how lush it used to be. But now that it's died back, all of its energy reserves have gone back into the rhizomes and we can harvest. The turmeric just kind of pulls away, which is nice. Now, as I'm raking this up, just to give you a better look at the systems, I just want to point out I have not done a thing to this system, except for topping up that nutrient and keeping on top of the reservoir. Even when the reservoir dried up, I never ever saw these guys wilt or be in want of more nutrient or water. This was the ultimate hands-off system. And this system is not limited to ginger and turmeric. I've grown tomatoes in it. I've grown cucumbers in it. You can literally grow any plant in this system. I really should have tried this at the start because all of these shoots are just breaking off. I didn't even need to go across it with the hedge trimmer. You're a good girl. Will you have a look at that grow bag? This is the first grow bag that we filled up. I put 6 pieces of seed ginger into this grow bag. So the one thing I did unfortunately forget to do was weigh the ginger that I put into this system. It's not a huge problem. You can kind of get an idea from the size pieces that I was putting in. That is 2 rhizomes of ginger that are going to meet in the middle. But I would like to have given you a before and after. Anyway, let's lift up this bag. Give you a look. Oh my God. That is the result. And here is the Wick wedge. You can see, God, that smells so good. You can see the roots have surrounded the cotton sash. That is definitely reusable. So we can just plant straight back onto that. There is a fern in here. I'm not sure why. You can see the ginger. It's actually bursting out of the bag. And as any ginger grower will tell you, cleaning the ginger is one of the worst jobs in the harvest. But with cocoa, it just falls away. Look at that. And I'll be keeping all of this cocoa because it is most definitely reusable. Have a look at that clump of ginger. Okay, so that is 1 bag's worth. I'm not gonna bore you with me collecting the rest. Well, I might do a couple of random shots, but that is incredible. That is unbelievable. So I'm gonna clean most of the cocoa off and collect the ginger, and then we can have a look at the turmeric. Okay, so the way that you would do this without a 3D print, I have thought about ways of getting the wicks into the bags, and all you would need to do is have a piece of dowel with a notch in the end of it so that it makes the end 2 points, and then you would just have your wick in the V in the top of the dowel, and you would push it through the bag and into the rain gutter grow system below. And you could do this 2 times per each hole. You could even press it in from the side, and if you had a longer wick, it would give more surface area to the bag so that it wicked more consistently rather than having it in one spot and radiating out from the middle. That wick wedge actually stayed in the bag as I lifted it, and you can see how the roots are radiating from the wick wedge because that is where the nutrients are supplied from. There it is. I've already got 3/4 of a wheelbarrow, and that's only 2 bags. So fortunately, I have these massive pots lying around. I will definitely be reusing this cocoa. What do you got? It's a frog. Have a look at the size of that piece of ginger. That's incredible. I just pulled out a dry bag, and the drier it is, the cleaner it comes out. So maybe if you don't want to do so much cleaning, you could just let the bags dry and you really don't have to clean it. So you may be thinking, what's he gonna do with all this ginger? I'm a man who likes beer and I'm a man who likes ginger. So the combination of those two, I'll be doing that on my second channel, All the Gear, No Idea. So if you're interested in brewing some hydroponically grown ginger beer, I'll leave a link at the end of the video so you can head over there and get subscribed so that you can be notified when I release that video. That's a wheelbarrow full of ginger. This is ridiculous. In like a good way though. And this is my purpose-built ginger and turmeric cleaning bench. Just kidding, I built it as a potting bench and it just looks like I built it at the perfect time. To build this, all I did was I got some pine sleepers, and this is cyclone weld mesh. It's just been bent over the top so that stuff can fall through it so you're not continually wiping down your work area. I'm going to utilize this to clean off my ginger and turmeric. And these are large seedling trays that I got from a local hardware store because they just throw them out. It's just such a waste. I'll see if I can show you how easy I think this is going to be to wash off. Look at that. That's a whole tray done in like 30 seconds. Easy mode. And this is the clump that I wanted to see if I could show you like what a bag, well there was more in this bag, but this is just how the clump stayed together. I'm gonna break it in two because it is actually two separate pieces. It's only being held together by the roots. Look at that massive chunk of ginger. It's huge. So now we've collected our ginger, I'm gonna collect the turmeric and do exactly the same thing. Okay, so you can see the problem that was happening with the turmeric here. I planted them quite deep because I wasn't familiar with how to plant them. And what has happened is the turmeric has forced the wick wedges out of the guttering, or at least it's forced it out enough so that the wicks were sitting out of the water. This one's actually quite wet, but it's caused some of them to dry out, and that would have limited the growth. Not that I'm worried about how much turmeric I'll have. So just plant shallower than I've planted and you'll have a good time here. The last bag. Oh, she's heavy. Oh, she's really heavy. And this is a wheelbarrow load of turmeric. I am definitely going to have ginger and turmeric pop up in these. Okay, so this part is going to blow your mind. You remember that video that I did on creating custom grow bags with small tubes of poly downpipe? Well, you can get this. This is 350 millimeter poly tubing. The way that we would use this is we would select our bag size, and because this is a roll of tube, you could literally have a bag size that is the length of our channel. We cut the bag to whatever size we want. We seal one end of it. You can literally do this with any vacuum seal device as long as the device is wide enough. And then we just seal the bag like so. And we have a bag with one end sealed. We can then fill the bag with the grow media that we've just saved from our last harvest. And this is the point where if you wanted to amend the grow media with, say, perlite or vermiculite, you could. So you can now customize this grow media to whatever you like. I'll leave a link in the description to the specifications of and where I got this poly tubing. And once we were happy with how full the bag is, and there it is. The bag is reset with the media from the last harvest. I have just created a perpetual ginger machine. Okay, so I've figured out the downsides to this method of growing. You're gonna grow too much, and then you're gonna have to clean it. And cleaning the turmeric isn't as fun as cleaning the ginger. So many nooks and crannies. And finally, we are done cleaning, and it's time to weigh it. Okay, my weight with a tray, 87.2. Okay, so tray one is 95.45. Tray two, 95.95. Tray three, 95.95 again. 97.1, 98.95. 97.7, 97.7. Okay, so I've just done the math. For the ginger, the combined weight of all ginger is 37.33 kilograms. And for the turmeric, the combined weight is 32.75 kilograms. That is incredible. Like, that's more than I could ever use. This is a fantastic result, and I am stoked. It was worth it. What a cracker of a result. For a little bit of perspective on those numbers, at the moment at Coles and Woolworths, which are our two major supermarkets in Australia, ginger is selling for $27 a kilogram, and you actually can't get fresh turmeric. So in front of you at $27 a kilogram, you're looking at $1,007 worth of ginger. And if we're going by the Coles and Woolworths numbers, the turmeric is priceless. And that isn't even a high price for what I've seen in supermarkets. I've seen ginger get up to $45 a kilo. Now that's ridiculous, but it's reality. Okay, so I just got off the phone to a mate of mine who grows ginger and turmeric and sells it to the markets. He has agreed to take the turmeric off my hands at between $12 and $14 a kilogram, which is what he sells it to the markets for. He also said that he could take the ginger off my hands as well. However, I have a plan in place for that. So right here, you are looking at about $475 worth of turmeric. I will need to clean up this turmeric a little bit. All of these hairs will need to be removed and it will need to be boxed up, ready for the market. So there is a little bit of work involved, but it can be an extremely productive use if you have the space and you have a means of offloading the product. To see what I'm going to do with all this ginger, head over to my other channel, All the Gear, No Idea, get subscribed, and I think we can make some decent use out of it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hoochos, an absolute cracker of a result, and a very happy hydroponicking. That's it for today. I will see you next time on Hoochos. Incredible.